For more on Syria, I'm joined now by Edmund Ghareeb. He is a specialist in Middle East affairs, and we've talked about Syria many, many times on this set. This meeting, this summit, the Iranian leader, the leader of Russia and Turkey all gathering, I saw someone who's covering it tweeting, "This is a mess." What's your sense of that, and where does this stand? I mean, can a ceasefire actually emerge from talks, do you think?
I don't think it's likely that we're going to see a ceasefire because, and this idea has come from some of the Western powers, but mainly from President Erdogan. Erdogan, under the Astana process, was supposed to separate the radicals from the moderate rebels, and that they would remove or force out or push out or the extremists. But this didn't happen. So there is no guarantee that this is likely to happen. This is, as you know, this is the last major area still controlled by Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, which is basically Al-Qaeda, and a different name under Al-Qaeda, and a variety of other elements, including such as Turkestan party, which is the Uyghurs from China, as well as many, many other radical groups who are there. There are easily somewhere between 10,000 to 15,000 fighters who are foreigners. This is among 70,000 to 75,000 fighters. So unless there is an agreement among the three parties on what to do with all of these groups, it's going to be difficult. And for the Syrians, the Russians, and the Iranians, this is the last major. Of course, there's still the area under the control of the Syrian Democratic Forces, the Kurds, who are backed by the United States, and there is an area around the Tanaf and close to the Iraqi border, which has some elements of ISIS, plus some small number of US troops. So beyond that, Idlib is still the largest area, and there are too many interests. The Turks have their own interests, the Russians and the Iranians have their own, the US and its allies have theirs, even the rebels themselves are not unified. And so that makes it, as you correctly pointed out, it could become a mess.
Well, and the UN Security Council had a meeting today. They're afraid of a humanitarian crisis. I mean, we're talking about a lot of people with weapons, but there are also a lot of civilians. I mean, this is a population of about 1.5 million, from what I understand. This could be a bloodbath, couldn't it?
It could. So far, however, if we look at what happened in Aleppo, what happened in eastern Ghouta, despite the predictions or the expectations of many that there was going to be a bloodbath, there were agreements. Well, yes, people died, but there was nothing compared to what happened in Raqqa or what happened in Mosul. But it seems that sometimes this is used also. While there are genuine, legitimate humanitarian concerns, there are efforts to use this issue to prevent the government, the Syrian government, from regaining control over its territory. And this is what makes this complex, especially since we hear now that the US plans on staying in Syria for a while. And the objectives, the reasons, the justifications for staying, they keep changing. One day it's to fight ISIS. The next day is to make sure that the that the Iranians are removed from Syria. The third day it's because there is a dictator who's running Syria. And so there's incoherence. Perhaps it's deliberate, but there's an incoherent kind of policy. And so that makes it difficult. But it's clear, as I'm sure probably you saw what the Washington Post wrote yesterday when there was an interview with a very senior US official who said we are going to create quagmires on the ground in Syria until we get what we want. Well, what is it that the US wants? And that's also one of the, there's no doubt that there was Iran, maybe they want a voice in the settlement. Probably they also want to make sure they control keep controlling the rich, oil-rich, water-rich, agricultural rich area, which is under the control of the Syrian Democratic Forces, until they get an agreement that they like. But that, I don't think the Russians and the Syrians are going to wait.
So the last time we spoke, it was a mess. It remains so tonight. But thank you for your analysis. Always great to see you.
Thank you very much.